What is going on, guys? I'm excited to have you here. If you are the type of person that has tried cutting down in the past, you're cutting down right now, you're just having difficulties, you're feeling stuck, or whenever you've tried in the past, you've lost a lot of lean mass and strength and just shriveled down, or you've tried in the past just to gain it right back, whatever the case may be. And you just want to unlock, honestly, that next level. You want to look in the mirror and truly be happy with, how you're looking, who you're seeing in the reflection, and be proud, be confident of yourself. Listen up. I got this case study right now that I'm going to share my screen with. We're going to run through of my client, Chris, and how he was able to shed off 20 pounds of just pure body fat while maintaining his lean mass and strength, all while having a full-time job and being a full-time family man. So stay tuned. I got my teaching glasses on. I rarely put them on, but yeah, we're going to hop on in and get this rolling. This is the full-on case study here. I dissected everything down just to make it clear, simple, easy. There's nothing too overly complicated here, but we do implement a lot of different methodologies, a lot of different tips and tricks that I have picked up along the way to really help people get to that next level and break through those plateaus. The main type of people I work with are the ones that are already at 80%. They already got a good foundation down and they're just trying to really take things to the next level. They're tired of being stuck. They're tired of being mediocre and they want to succeed. They want to have a physique that they're truly proud of looking in the mirror. So this is kind of, what we do here, man, at Stoic Physique. So this is Chris. This is him. Week 1, 177.3 pounds. This is him week 12, 158.8 pounds, right around 20 pounds in 3 months. Guy got shredded down. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts, man. This guy is stage ready. And he didn't even hop on the stage. He just wanted to look good. Still working together now. We're recomping him, bulking him back up to get him into a nice recomp phase where we put on some quality lean mass on him. But that's neither here nor there. This is about cutting him down. So 49 years old, 5'9", 177 week 1, 158 week 12. How do we do it? We started off with an onboarding phase. So with this onboarding phase, it's dissected down into 3 different steps here. So we got, first off, assessment of preferences. I kind of put a little screenshot of what these forms look like. I basically sent him over a form. I was like, listen, complete this out. He completed it on the call. We dissected it down more in depth. I took more notes on my end just to make sure I have as much details on him as possible to create a plan that's actually sustainable for him, something that is enjoyable for him, and something that he can stick to long term. And something that really just revolves around, his goals, obviously. So everything, is covered here. Figuring out what his lifestyle is like, what his schedule is like, what foods he likes, doesn't like, what he's currently eating, everything like that. And then in terms of, workout preferences, how many days a week he likes to train, what type of training he enjoys most, everything like that is covered on here. This is just a snippet of a couple different questions here or there. So this is covered. We run through that on the call and basically get everything going there. So this is on the onboarding call, about 20 minutes or so. We hop on there, dissect it down. Second part of the call, we set up a timeline. So this is what his timeline looked like. This is the exact timeline. Here, I did put examples in because he didn't really have necessarily a specific goal in the gym. He just wanted to look good. He wanted to look good, feel good. But I do have a lot of guys that have gym goals. I think it's always good to set, especially if you are somebody that is looking to get your strength up, whatever the case may be. It's good to have these milestone markers, and not even just for your strength through bench. It could be push-ups, pull-ups, whatever the case may be. Just a little side quest to accomplish. And basically, these timelines help hold us accountable, make sure we're following through on our end goal and really getting Chris to that end goal here. So we set up the end goal. We set up his current stats. Currently, he was body weight 178, body fat percentage around 16 to 18% on average. And then I put example, let's say he benched 225 for 2 to 3 reps. So the main goal we covered, obviously setting him up what he wanted to look like 3 months from now. 3 months from now, he told me he wanted to get shredded down. He wanted to look 10% or less. Obviously just having abs, having those weeks, everything popping out. So we put the goal of body fat percentage 10% or less. For that, just from my experience, we calculated that up to be around 157 to 160 pounds, which is literally where he fell into. But on top of that, not just setting the end goal, it's important to have milestone goals, again, for the accountability purpose, but also to catch earlier on if we are seeing us deviate from the road. If we're deviating a little bit from the goal, we're able to pivot, make the right changes and accommodations earlier on to catch ourselves and get us back on track and see the progress we need there. So that's what we did with Chris here. Basically, month 1, our goal is to aim for 170, 172. Usually that first month, I always see the biggest drop on the scale. Visually, not so much. And that's exactly how it looked like for him. First month, he dropped that weight real quick. Second month, that's where we started fine-tuning. That's where the details started to slowly come through. Our goal is to aim for around 163, 165 pounds. I believe he hit 165-ish there or so. And then month 3, 157 to 160, and he fell right in that at 158. So that's kind of how that looked like for him. And then we also want to prioritize different muscle groups to improve on. So I think it's important to create a balanced physique. With every one of my clients, I don't just throw a cookie cutter workout that, trains all the muscle groups evenly. Everything is detailed exactly for the needs to create that balanced physique, to create that shape that, you ideally like. So for Chris, he wanted to bring up his shoulders and his chest. So we prioritize that in his training, and that was good, info for me to jot down and make sure we are keeping that as a priority in our training and then adjusting as needed from there. Now for this, basically, if let's say he had the bench goal, he benched 225 for 2 to 3 reps. 3 months from now, let's say he wanted to bench 225 for 8 to 10 reps. So basically, month 1 for him, we'd have a building phase or a fatigue accumulation where we really focus on driving that high volume to get the fatigue management under control, and that'll basically lead into that second phase where you're able to truly show off your strength. Just because at that point you're not going to be fatiguing on the lower reps. You're able to really give it your all and truly show your strength once you've built up that endurance when it comes to your hypertrophy training. So month 2, we had him, let's say we had the goal of 225 for 5 to 7 reps. And then month 3, that's his end goal, 225 for 8 to 10 reps. Now this is a goal that I've had clients set before and they've accomplished it. That's why I set it up here as an example of this is something that it would look like for him if he wanted to do that route. But yeah, so that's going to be the timeline. And then the third part of this whole onboarding phase is getting him set up in the app. This app is very simple, easy to use. Everything is located on there. I just took some screenshots of what the main dashboard will look like for Chris. And basically he has his workout in here for the day. He has his, ab routine, cardio, everything like that is listed out. And then since he synced up his smartwatch, it tracked exactly all his walking, all his steps, everything like that he did. Progress wise, this is just shows you everything. Again, if you have a smartwatch, it syncs up easily. It'll track your sleep, body fat. I'm able to see all that and able to start tracking those trends. I'm a big data guy, so using all these metrics for our advantage is always the route that I like to take. And then here, just a little extra motivation. I'll show you all your achievements that you've met in terms of hitting new max volume, new reps, workouts, consistency, everything like that. Just kind of tracks you, gives you a little kick in the ass, gives you a little fire to the flame there. So that's kind of how the app looks like for Chris. And that's, a big priority of, of how everything is set up. There's a meal plan for the week on there as well in that fork and knife icon. And then the workouts, everything like that is listed out. So that's kind of the onboarding phase that we did for Chris. And after that, I take the time to create the plan. So it takes me a couple of days to do that. With Chris, we had the onboarding call, I think, at the beginning of the week, gave me just plenty enough time to have everything out to him by Thursday, Friday. So then he was able to start fresh on Monday, do all his grocery shop and everything like that come the weekend. Now, when it comes to the different aspects of the training itself and off of the full-on plan, we're going to dive into nutrition and how we set that up for Chris. So basically for him, there's 3 main components that we looked into to make sure we are honing in: optimization, sustainability, and enjoyment. So to tackle enjoyment first, this is something, that on the onboarding phase we kind of cover. We see what kind of foods he likes, what foods he doesn't like, to create a plan that he truly does enjoy it. It's not something that you're dreading having the next meal. So everything is set up based on taste preferences. Even, foods that he currently eats, at least including some sort of variations, always helps with that sustainability purpose. I've had coaches myself that have thrown me a complete 180 of what I normally eat, or chicken broccoli rice for 6 meals a day. Is miserable. So that's not how I roll. That's not how I do my own diet, even when I'm cutting down, even when on show prep. So that's not how I do it for my clients. So basically creating a plan that, is truly enjoyable. Sustainability also, so with this, basically how we taper, how we adjust calories, macros, everything like that is subtle. You're not going to notice it with him, especially when we're cutting down, especially in the beginning. These are small tweaks, small adjustments that slowly, gradually pick up the pace so you don't notice, your body adjusts to it. And it's something that is sustainable. It's not a huge drop of 1,000 calories where right off the bat, you're hungry, you're craving, everything is, falling off track and you're just barely hanging on. Because when that happens, basically you cut down, you get to your weight and then you get to your look. From there, just because it's so unsustainable, you're going to bounce right back. You're going to gain all your weight back. And I'm sure, some of you guys listening, you've tried that before. And then you do end up gaining the weight back in 2 to 3 months, if not even sooner. And it's just not something that, you can really stick to long term. Like, listen, my diet that I eat when I'm, bulking, when I'm cutting, when I'm maintaining, it includes the same foods, just different variations, different adjustments here or there. And that's exactly how we set up for Chris. Now, when it comes to optimization, this is one thing that we looked at his current diet and looked to see what we could adjust. So a couple different things that we look at. We want to improve his metabolic rate. We want to improve his insulin sensitivity, and that'll come through meal timing, refeeds, and a couple other variables that we adjust in his meals. So with metabolic rate, we want to make sure everything is pumping right, especially deeper into a cut. Oftentimes your metabolic rate decreases, your the thermogenesis in your body decreases as well. So you're not burning as many calories throughout the day. With these refeeds, that helps to pump that up, that helps to increase your metabolic rate, improve your digestion overall, and really get you to the next level when it comes to burning body fat. Now, it is important. You can't include it right off the bat. It's not going to work. That's not what we did for Chris. I believe we included it a decent amount in. So after we reach a certain level, or different feedback variables that I look for are energy levels, overall fatigue, how he's feeling, week over week generally, and then strength, pumps in the gym, everything like that. And that's something that we'll cover in the check-ins that we did for Chris as well. So refeeds is a big component to dieting down, really getting to that, upper echelon when it comes to getting fully shredded up. Now, insulin sensitivity, this is something that helps with meal timing. This is where meal timing affects insulin sensitivity, but also the type of carbohydrates that you have throughout the day, where you structure them, where you plan them out. And that's something that can overall help with maintaining lean mass, help with the strength aspect, and help you, really get the most out of your workouts, especially if you're structuring the carbohydrates properly before your workout and after your workout. Oftentimes people just try to have a protein shake after the workout. Not the best way. You want to have with some carbohydrates, especially simple carbs, that'll help drive that protein into your cells to help, with overall recovery there. So that's optimization. That's something that we structured for Chris. And this is a general outline of a day. I just took a screenshot from his meal plan. So this is actually his meal plan right here, one of the days here. And basically everything's laid out, and there's variability, variety in here. It's not the same thing day in, day out. I believe for him, he wanted just to have a little bit of variety. So I think we did every 2 or 3 days, we switched it up for him. But, some guys, every day we switch it up. Some guys that want to have the same thing day in, day out, we have the same thing. So that's kind of how we structure it, but you can see a basic overview. We even have some PB&Js in here for him because he enjoys that. He liked the, English muffins, turkey bacon, stuff like that. Everything here is enjoyable. I mean, listen, looking at this, I even enjoy it. I want to have it. And then some people that like to cook, I have a bunch of different recipes that I'll throw in for them as well. I have this anabolic French toast recipe that they love. I personally love it. Different, sweet tooth recipes as well. I have a whole list. So we'll always, incorporate different aspects of that. So that's nutrition. Then we'll hop over to training. Then we'll get to the check-ins lastly. So with training, how we set that up is, again, there are three main prongs that we follow by: preferences, prioritization, and variability. With preferences, overall, setting it up in a training style and methodology that Chris really enjoyed, because if he's not going to enjoy it, he's not going to push himself as hard. So setting it up in a way based on, the onboarding phase, the questions of preferences that we gather there, everything is set up according to that. So with him, he enjoyed, hypertrophy training with a little bit of strength training. That's what we threw in for him there. Prioritization, this is where the muscle groups. So the muscle groups that we jotted down in that timeline, he wanted to improve his shoulders and chest. That's what we prioritize in his training and really optimize to make sure we are hammering that away with volume, with different variations that truly bring out that hypertrophy in that and help prioritize and grow those muscles to bring them up to the rest. And then variability for Chris, we had every 6 to 7 weeks, we adjusted his training phase. We had a new training phase that enrolled, and basically with that, there's new variations, new compound movements, new accessory work, and as well as obviously rep schemes and volume overall changes. Within each phase though, I did adjust rep sets and even percentages based on his training to help him really tap into that progressive overload, bring up those weak points, and really hammer away to get him to that next level, and to help, obviously give him that stimulus so he was able to maintain his strength, able to maintain his lean mass, if not even add to it. So that's kind of how the training looked there. And this is an example of his workout. This is an actual workout from his training plan right now. You can see everything's broken down. There's different variations, different rep schemes. I even incorporate some failure sets. I don't think it's, I'm not a fan of using failure all the time, just because there's a couple negatives to that, from, frying your CNS to not having proper recovery, possible injuries, everything like that. But it is good to incorporate that on occasion. And I think, strategically using it is always a good idea here. So as you can see, everything is kind of broken down from, obviously we're prioritizing that chest. We have him doing the chest training first before his back. And we're prioritizing a little bit of the shoulders in there too with that incline. So, And same with the semi-suit. But yeah, so that's his workouts. And then lastly, check-ins. Basically every week I send him out a check-in on Tuesday or so. We hopped on calls every once in a while as well as needed if you want to discuss things more in depth. But basically with check-ins, again, three-prong approach here. We have feedback, metrics, and adjustments. So feedback, overall, just seeing how he's feeling. How are his energy levels? How are his stress? How's his hunger? How's his, hydration been? How's his sleep been? Everything like that, because these are metrics that I use to make the proper adjustments. So if his sleep is off, I'm going to adjust his training variability a little bit. I'm going to adjust his volume so he's able to still recover properly, because there is a balance of recovery to, calorie expenditure or overall how you're pushing your body that can play a role in either injuries or stalling out or just overall burning out. And that's something we always want to avoid. Same with, obviously stress at work. If that's super high, we're going to adjust some variables with his training, with his nutrition to make sure we're accommodating for that accordingly. Metrics overall, like kind of tracking just basically how his weight is, what his water intake is like, what his sleep is like, everything like that. And then also on Trainerize, every week I look through what his weights are, everything that's tracked on there that I showed you in this overall view. We're tracking that. I'm looking at that, seeing what needs to change, seeing what needs to adjust, and if we're on track with everything. And then adjustments week over week, adjusted stuff for Chris all the time, just because, throughout this cut, 3 months, I mean, he was able to dice down, and every week, if not every day, his body was changing. So it's just as much my responsibility to make those changes, make those adjustments to make sure we're staying on track, not hitting any walls, not hitting any plateaus. So every week he was getting a feedback from me on what's going good, what's not going so good, what do we need to adjust, and I would make those and implement those adjustments. And especially if he had feedback on, hey, like this meal's getting boring for me, or I'm not really enjoying this exercise, whatever the case may be, never hurt my feelings, but just, again, good feedback so that I can change this plan to make it something enjoyable, something sustainable, and something that, still drives those results. So that's kind of how the check-ins are, and this is how they look. Just a little example. Overall, like I said, we're gauging the stress levels, enjoyment of the meals, how difficult it was to stick to them, how many meals he's switched out. That's all feedback that I'm able to look, see. If I'm seeing a lot of, switched out meals, I'm going to ask, hey, like, are you not enjoying something? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. We'll have that conversation so then I can make those proper adjustments for him there. But yeah, those are just a little snippet. Again, not all the questions, but just some of them. Simple, easy to fill out. I'll send that out to him every Tuesday session. We'll get that rolling. But yeah, this is the overall game plan. Well, really not too much to it, but basically, like I said, just sum it up. Onboarding phase would cover exactly his goals. We set that up. We set up, his preferences, see what he likes, what he doesn't like, to create that plan, and then set him up in the app. Then after that, we have check-ins every week. And from the check-ins, I'm able to make the proper adjustments to his nutrition and training to make sure everything is staying on point. We're honing in and optimizing everything as much as possible from his training, with adjusting his routine, adjusting his phases, adjusting his volume, to his nutrition with, including refeeds, adjusting his meal timing, and switching things around based on his hunger as well. And yeah, so this is the overall game plan of what we use to get Chris to get absolutely peeled up at 49 years old, lose the 20 pounds in 3 months, maintain his lean mass, maintain his strength. And, this is honestly a game plan that I have used not just for Chris, but for plenty of other guys to get them to the next level. So again, if you stuck around to the end, thank you. But, obviously you've stuck around because what you've done in the past hasn't worked, and you're trying to see, if this is something for you. So if you want to see how this can be applied to you and to your case, DM me Shredded. We'll discuss exactly where your sticking points are, what we can do to adjust and implement the right game plan to get you to the next level. So we'll talk. DM me Shredded, especially if you're, you've been at it for a while, you've been feeling stuck, you've been frustrated, that 70-80%, and you have more need to give. DM me Shredded, man. We're going to untap that potential and get you to the next level.